Hi guys, today for the tips and tricks video, I am going to be using the orange handheld control. This control will run a Generation 6 or original RealCare 1, whichever you want to call it, a RealCare 2, and a 2 Plus. It will not work with the 3. The 2, there's this also, this is the orange handheld. There's also a blue one. It's the exact same shape as this, except for it's like a dark navy blue color. And as you can see, this one is opaque. But you can see right through the orange plastic, where that one is just a solid navy blue. And then there is also a box style control. See if I can find it. Excuse me, guys. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm going to cover you up for a second. I'll get you over to the computer so it's not a shock. There we go. This is the other control. This is the control that came with the Generation 6 or original RealCare. It will run a RealCare 2, but I believe you have to have the ID from the Generation 6, which it isn't the flat gray ID. It is, I believe it's like a dark gray base and then it's like a silver circle on the top. Or this is the blue one that right here. This is the blue one that I was talking about. I'll click on the option so you can get a better picture. Do they have just a picture of it? No. Let's do zoom. Here we go. Hopefully you can see this a little bit. But yeah, this is the blue version. Both the blue version and the orange version will work with the the original RealCare 2 and 2 Plus. Both the orange and the blue are the same exact thing. The blue one is just an older one. When they first started making them, they all came blue, and then eventually they switched over to this orange color. And as you can see, to get the control, this is typically what they're listed for on eBay, is around $500. I've seen a few go for less than that. I got mine for less than that. There is occasionally times that you get where a seller doesn't really know what they have. In my case, the seller didn't know what they had, and honestly, all it was listed as, because on the back it says Reality Works Incorporated. All it was listed as was Reality Works Orange Diagnostic or something like that. It was listed incredibly weird, and it was because the seller didn't know what it was. And I have search parameters set up on eBay, and I can go in and check those, and it came up in one of those. There's also this. This will work for a RealCare 2 Plus for sure. I'm not sure it'll work for a 3. This is a communication pod. It is similar to an xStick, and as you can see, here's my xStick. The communication pod is actually pretty large, and it has to stay in place. It's got a bunch of cables, where the xStick you just literally plug into the USB port. So that's kind of the differences on how you can program the RealCare 2. The pod, I know some sellers will say that, excuse me, that you can program a 3 on it. I'm not sure. I would assume that it's similar to an xStick, but I'm not going to say that it will, because I have never owned a communication pod, because this is how much they typically sell for. When Reality Works had the pods available, I I either didn't have the dolls or I had a handheld. So I didn't need a communication pod, or I just had one doll. So I really didn't need a communication pod because, as with the xStick and the communication pod, you can program multiple babies at once. Where the handheld, you can only do one baby at a time. You have to go in and do all the programming. So, excuse me guys, and a frog in my throat. But, yeah, and here's the cables. It's a USB cable, but it's similar to an xStick. And like I said, these are the prices on eBay currently, like $400, and they do have best offer. I've never submitted for a best offer because I don't need one. So honestly, some of these sellers, I don't know how low they would go. This one actually has kind of like a kit. It's got the 5 charging station, and it does have the control, but once again, it's still this $500 price. This one's $550. This one's $700. And then somebody is selling an xStick for $575. And the old controls are cheaper. Like this one is right now for $179. And like I said, this one will work to program a Generation 6 or original RealCare, or a RealCare 2 only. Only those two. And I've never programmed a RealCare 2 with one of them. From what I've heard from others, I believe that you have to use, see, because it usually has, if they're like an ID like this. Not the flat gray ID, but it's one of these circle IDs. Yeah, this is my option, so this is what it looks like. Yeah. It's got like a dark gray base to it, and it's got like this silver button on the top. That I believe you have to use that ID because the flat gray IDs, those have to be programmed to the doll. That's also why, like, if you can buy a RealCare 2 or a Generation 6 and program them and start them without a programmer. For the Generation 6, all you need to do is have the ID. That circle one with the silver button on the top. For RealCare 2, you can start them without the I can't think of what I was going to say now. Without the control unit, but you have to have that silver ID programmed in advance. Where some listings of dolls will have IDs on them and they're just randomly thrown in. There are a few listings of RealCare 2s where the seller said that the ID is actually programmed to the doll. If you're interested in getting a RealCare 2, which the RealCare 2 is the one with the batteries, I would suggest, if you're looking on eBay, to ask the seller a lot of questions. And honestly, in my experience, you're going to get a lot of sellers unsure. Especially RealCare 2 babies, and it's starting to get into RealCare 2 Plus babies, where schools are upgrading to the 3s. They're selling their previous generations in a big bundle, essentially, or in a huge lot. And then the people buying the lot see how much the dolls sell for, but don't really know much about the dolls. So they'll just start listing them randomly. Because I know recently on eBay there was an auction that the seller did end up breaking it up, but they had bought this lot from a school in their area, and there was like 50 some RealCare babies between RealCare 2 and RealCare 2 Plus babies. There was a bunch of communication pods. There was a bunch of 5 baby charge stations, lots of accessories. I think they had like over 100 car seats, which I believe the seller just ended up tossing those because some of them didn't even have covers on them. They looked like they should have been tossed years ago, or they were just straight out disgusting looking. But A lot of the sellers I've noticed on eBay that have been selling dolls have no idea about the dolls. Occasionally you'll get one that'll say, I plugged it in and the lights lit up. That doesn't really mean anything because, like, in my experience when I got Holden and Danny is, I plugged them in and the lights lit up too, but neither of them had batteries. So the lights lighting up did absolutely nothing. So if you're gonna get one on eBay, really read the auction. I know a lot of people just use their app, and the app has like that quick, because I have the app as well. When you pull up a listing, it'll show like the first picture. It'll have the title, how much it is, and all that kind of stuff. And then it'll have like a quick description. And a lot of times the sellers just use the quick description and don't really have anything let's go. Let me try something so I can show you an example on here. I actually listed all the bottles and pacifiers I have for sale. Here's an example. This one is my auction or listing, where right up here it has on the desktop version it'll have this. No, it's down here. This kind of gray, I don't know what color you call it, that kind of yellowish, orangish pink box, peach, I don't know. But you use this description where I put used even though the bottle is brand new because it has been modified. So just for my own being, I put used. Here I have where it says seller's notes. 1 8-ounce new, and I put new there. RealCare Real Dr. Brown's Halloween with Little Boo pacifier with putty ready to use for RealCare. 1 original generation 6 G6 2 plus, and then the 2 eyes because various how people search them as different ways, and RealCare Babies from Reality Works. So when you pull this up on a the mobile site, this is typically what you will see, and then you can click to read the description, and then this part will come up. But most people don't click to read the description; they just see this part. And so, I mean, I've gotten caught buying things where I bought it online or through my app, and all I did was read this part, and I didn't come into this part, and there was more things listed, like defects and stuff were listed in this area. So really, I will just kind of let everybody know if you're interested in buying any of the RealCare Babies or Baby Think It Overs, ask lots of questions, as well as even if something says as is or for parts, if you're just even interested in using it as like basically a mannequin, ask questions. I know my friend Kim has had some issues with a baby she bought on eBay. It was listed as is for parts, and it didn't have, it was a generation 4, I believe. It's either generation 4 or generation 5 Baby Think It Over. It was a generation 5. And in the auction, the seller was talking about the head flopping back. Well, the head's supposed to flop back. When she got the baby's head was not attached, and the baby's head was broken, so you couldn't attach it. And the seller's response was, oh, just take and get some glue and glue it back on. Like, the doll apparently actually arrived to her without its head on. As in, the seller took the head off to fit it in the box. So she was going around with eBay being, yes, it was sold as is, but at no place in the auction did the seller obviously knew about the head not being attached to the doll. So I'm not sure about her outcome. I know that she had gone around with PayPal and eBay a few times about that. So, like I said, ask questions. If a seller gets irritated with you for asking questions, in my experience, I wouldn't want to buy from that person. I mean, I'm putting good faith in this person because I'm buying something pretty expensive from them sight unseen. There may be a few pictures of it, but I can't tell if it works. I can't tell if it has everything, and I can't tell if it's in good condition just from the few pictures. So always ask questions. So that's my tip about buying the RealCares. My next video, I'll go into using the programmer, because I just wanted to go over the different types of programmers and which ones you can use with each. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all later. Bye.